I was still filming, and it decided to cut off for no reason, and I'm fucking pissed right now. Okay, so I was saying, that people, I can't actually remember what I was saying, because again, it cut off, and I'm really mad right now, because I'm gonna have to upload this video in 2 parts, and I'm fucking pissed. So, I was saying, people being rude, just like, me, personally, I used to be into this whole thing where I was like, oh, small towns are so cute, like, that's such a cute thing, and I'm like, I'm still down with that to an extent. Like, I think what I was going for is, like, you should be friendly, you should talk to people, like, cashiers, or, like, people who are, like, you interact with, like, be friendly and talk to them, like, don't be, like, an asshole. I think that's kind of where I was going with it. Because, you know, small towns, just like, oh, everyone knows each other, whatever. Which, honestly, I still, I mean, like, if you have an opportunity, like, I think it's really great. I don't think you should push everyone away. That's what I think. I think if you are in a situation, you should be open to hearing people's stories. You should have an opportunity to, you know, interact with people in a way that, and that's what I think is beautiful about it. But honestly, there are times when it's just not a good time to like, talk to someone, honestly, and then there are times I don't feel like talking to someone. So it's just like, this is just how it goes. So basically, this is just, people are going to complain about certain things. It's like, oh, stop strolling. So they're talking about commute right there. That's just how rude. Honestly, yes, commute is disgusting. Just drivers. But like, the other thing is, person's like, oh, you're so cold, like saying excuse me. It's one of the things that, like, saying excuse me and saying like how are you, like, in America, it's just like such a weird thing, because like, oh, you touch someone, you automatically excuse me. It's just an automatic response, even if you're not being like nice about it. And the other thing is like, how are you? Hi, how are you? Even though you don't actually care how the person is doing, you're just like, hi, how are you? It's such a weird thing. Like, honestly, excuse me and how are you are such weird things in America, like, honestly. So honestly, so this person says right here that rude is not an objective standard, and I 5,000% agree. Like I mentioned already. So says big cities, people are often less willing to stop and chat to strangers than in the suburbs or rural areas, but are much more accepting of outsiders. And I just 5,000% agree with that. I just think, like, oh, I'm gonna stop and chat with strangers as long as they're white and share my political ideology. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for saying that, but that's kind of what I came to realize about that whole culture. Is it's very, you know, something rubs me the wrong way about the whole thing. So yeah, honestly, a lot of people have the same point and are just saying, like, yeah, it's a small, compact space. People are trying to get where they're going. You know, people aren't going to have time for small talk. And, like, honestly, this is something, because I used to be, like, all about the small talk, like, but I was always really shy and socially awkward. And the thing is, I don't know if you guys have watched Gabby Hanna. I'm not, like, opening a wormhole of Gabby Hanna right now, but, like, she used to always talk about, like, with her Uber drivers, like, oh my god, I hate small talk so much. And I'm like, sis, can relate. She's also from, like, my area too, so that's pretty funny. So this, I want to see what this person says. This person has a different take on this. Yes, 100% New Yorkers are the rudest Americans that live in the country. I have lived in 5 states, and I have traveled all over the country, and YOrKeRs have no manners to the point where they won't even say thank you if you hold the door for them. I highly doubt that's true, but sure. I think that depends on the person. Like, some people are just going to be busy and not, like, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would say thank you if you held the door for them, because, again, 8 million people, I'm sure plenty of them would say thank you if you held the door for them. Like, I'm a socially awkward idiot. Like, if someone holds the door for me, I might forget to say thank you. I'm not an asshole, I promise. Like, again, I'm a socially inept idiot. So basically, this person says they're conceited, self-centered, narcissistic, and don't give a shit about how your day is going. Which, I mean, why should they give a shit about how your day is going? That's to be honest. Like, if I don't know you, genuinely, like, why should you give a shit about like, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, I have a general, like, I care about everyone, but I don't have time to invest in everyone. Get the point? It's an investment here. So, this person says, the city of New York is the most expensive, crowded, smelly, and dirty city in the States, and the weather sucks ass. Honestly, I think, I forget what city it was that was like, really dirty. It was one of those, like, in California that everyone's always like, there's, like, waste, there's, like, syringes on the ground. Is that, like, San Francisco or Los Angeles? I don't remember, honestly. It's, like, even that is blown out of proportion. I'll say that right now. Like, honestly, people are just, like, so shit. Like, I say people are shitty. Like, honestly, people are shitty because it's, like, if you don't, like, this is just my opinion. I'm just gonna say it's, like, if you don't like cities, that's totally fine. That's totally valid. If you just don't like cities, if you don't like crowds, if you're uncomfortable with it, you know, whatever, that's totally fine. I have no problem with it. But what's not fine is when you basically judge people, and these types of people just strike me as really stuck up, honestly. And I'm not saying, like, people in the cities aren't stuck up either. I'm not saying New Yorkers aren't hella stuck up. I'm saying, like, the people who are just, like, constantly just, you know, very much stuck up in the sense, what I mean by that is like, the people who are, and when they talk about it being dirty, they talk about all that stuff, it's like, I don't know, it's just like, sorry, I'm getting a bunch of Instagram DMs and I can't really see myself, so it's just like one of those things of, like, it always feels condescending. Like, when people talk about things like, oh, it's dirty, oh, there's waste, oh, there's whatever, it always feels condescending because, like, there's a lot of homeless people, like, in any large city, and it's like, it's not their fault that they're, like, for the most part, it's not their fault that they're homeless and, like, don't have other options, so, like, people, or just, like, poverty. Like, I feel like people just, like, saying all that is honestly kind of being passive-aggressive, and people are, like, making fun of homeless people. It's kind of one of the things that really gets under my skin is when people make fun of homeless people. Like, honestly, it just makes me so mad. Like, just, and when the people just say things like, oh, you shouldn't be homeless, or you should get a job, or you should do that, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, honestly, one of the things that I do not understand in this country is the hatred and making fun of and the complete lack of empathy for poor or homeless people. Just something that I do not understand. It's like, could you try to have some empathy instead of just assuming it's their fault and they need to get a better job because, and that welfare programs are shit and you need to get rid of them and make these people's lives worse? Like, you genuinely, can you not have any sort of empathy? And I'm not getting into politics to the point where it's like, I mean, yes, I can understand if you have different reasons for not wanting welfare or whatever, that's the point, but I'm saying, the people who are like this really, really irk me. Like, it's just something to me that's like, oh, it's your fault if you're homeless. Like, get a job, get a life. Like, dude. And the thing is, like, oh, we don't want to fund medical research. We don't want to fund healthcare. Mental health. Mental illness, guys. Literally, the cuts to mental health institutions under Reagan is what made there be more homeless people. I'm sorry. Okay, getting back to this. So it says, New York is smelly and dirty, which honestly, okay, so I was in Manhattan, it honestly wasn't to me. I mean, it's gonna be dirtier than, like, where I live, but, like, honestly, I don't remember it being smelly. I mean, there are smells, like, anywhere you go, there are going to be smells, and, like, it was dirty, but not, like, dirty. Like, any large city is going to be dirty. There's too much, like, pollution and people. And if you want to look at pictures of like, Manhattan from the 70s, hell, if you want to look at pictures of, like, Pittsburgh from the 1940s, y'all have it good. If you're gonna complain about places being dirty, because, oh my goodness. So this person basically says, so the weather sucks ass all year round. Honestly, I was there for 2 days in August and the weather was amazing, but that's just me. I have no idea why people even choose to live in NY. I can't say because of opportunity, because 80% of your salary goes towards rent. So after that, what's the point of living off a gross $1 pizza slices? Honestly, like, sure, like, honestly, and I'm not trying to be condescending, like, this is gonna sound weird, but, like, if 80% of your income is going to your rent, there's a problem. There is a problem. That is not remotely budgeting well. Like, if you can't afford to live somewhere, you can't afford to live somewhere. You're not budgeting well. You cannot have 80% of your income go to rent. You need, obviously there's other bills, if you're including other bills in that. What about transportation to and from work? What about food? You're right, food is a great point. Anything else? Like, they say it should be a third to probably a half at the most, and somewhere like New York, of your income should be going to rent. Like, it just, you cannot, like, I'm talking like 30 to 50% of your income should be going to rent. Not 80%. That's not okay. Like, and I'm not shaming anyone who, you know, is doing that, and if you want to choose to live that way, go ahead, but it's just kind of something that, to me, that's an issue. Like, so saying you can't afford to live in New York is one thing, but saying New York is shit is completely a different thing. So honestly, I'm gonna read, this person has 18 upvotes, I'm gonna download it. Okay, so this person replied, you worked at McDonald's. Try making a better life for yourself here in the big city of opportunities, and you may feel different. There's an abundance of technical and trade schools that offer full loans until completion and employment, which will pay double the wage. A fast food service. If you should leave, we don't need negativity in addition to our already great city's problems. Okay, so honestly, this specific person replying, honestly, they do have a point. Like, you should try to get it. Like, what I will say though, like, this person, like, you do not have to move there, but one thing, oh, you worked at McDonald's, I think that's kind of a cheap shot, honestly, because, I don't know, it's like, try to get a better life for yourself. I don't think there's any shame in working in fast food at McDonald's, but when you use that and then when you project on other people and are like, oh my god, fast food is gross, and you literally worked in fast food, that's just kind of, I mean, yeah, you can say it's gross if you're like, you know, I worked here, but it's just kind of different when you're just, like, judging people for being poor when you help them. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. So this person does have a point. I think it's a bit of a cheap shot, but they do have a point. This person says, this is the mentality I'm talking about. Just because this person's occupation doesn't fit your standards doesn't mean one isn't entitled to one's opinion. This is the reality of a lot of us. Not everyone is concerned with keeping up with the Jones, and also everyone has to start somewhere. This is the exact mentality that NYCers have that is off-putting. A lot of people have told me they are horrible, that they are leaving because of horrible cost of living. Okay, so honestly, I think both of these views are flawed here. Taking a cheap shot at someone because their occupation is flawed, but also the person with said occupation saying New York, like, you're allowed to have an opinion, but when it comes, like, you can say an opinion, I hate cities. You can say, I hate cities, they're loud, they're annoying, I hate this, I hate cities, I hate crowds, that's a totally valid opinion and feeling. But when it crosses into the line of complaining about things like, oh, it's smelly, oh, it's dirty, that crosses the line to me into, why though? Are you, like, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of just makes me very uncomfortable when people say that shit, honestly. So, like, my aunt, she's, like, super, super nice. Like I said, my aunt is, like, amazing. And she's pretty liberal, but, like, some of her in-laws are not. Like, her husband is, but some of her in-laws are not. And I believe it was, I think it was her sister-in-law who was, like, rich, and was complaining, oh my god, the New York subways are getting dirtier. It's like, when you say that just rubs me the wrong way, because it's like, I was on the subway, I mean, there was a homeless guy on the subway, it's like, I'm not gonna, like, be like, oh my god, there's a homeless guy on the subway. Like, those two things just, like, I mean, I'm sure that wasn't the intent, but it still comes off that way. So, basically, this person says if you think you can stereotype other New Yorkers to be saying you're nuts, bottom line. So, I definitely agree with that. this person is saying stereotyping the victim mentality. They started screaming, which is a bit, you know, aggressive, but I mean, I guess they have a point. Like, if you don't want to live here, leave. That's kind of how I feel about a lot of things. Like, it's like, if you don't want to live somewhere, leave. That's genuinely how I feel. It's not just about cities. Like, if you don't want to live in a city, leave. If you don't want to live in a country, leave. If you're thinking your vote doesn't count in the state you live in, leave. I'm just saying. This is one thing that does irk me. It's just like, leave. Like, I'd rather you live somewhere else than complain all the time. And this is honestly something that, like, I used to joke about, because, like, I know how, like, communist regimes, they would, like, not let people leave the country or whatever, and this is something that I used to joke about, and I used to say, like, if I was, like, making a country, because I'd have, like, socialist politics, but, like, I would let people leave because I don't want them here. Like, if they're gonna complain, if you don't want to live under socialism, then I want you to leave, because if you don't want to live under socialism, then you're not gonna cooperate with it, and then I want you to leave. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm like joking around. That's not really, obviously I'm not going to run a country, but the point I'm making is, like, there's an instance of, like, why would you want someone somewhere? I don't know. Apparently I answered this question. I'll have to see what I said. So this says, according to a worldwide study, the most welcoming place in the world is New York City. It's kind of strange how often we are often rude to each other, but I rarely ever see a fellow true New Yorker being rude to a tourist or visitor. Sure, you may catch one of us on a bad day, and we may be rude to a tourist, but it's certainly not the norm. My early visits to New York City, I found people to be rude. However, in later visits, I did not find that to be so. I've made many good friends there with a Jewish clique, mostly. I've been invited into homes to visit and even stay overnight, etc. Yes, I grew up in central New York my whole life. Some areas it's not as hostile, but others it is, for example, in the not-so-hostile areas. These grammatically incorrect run-on sentences are killing me, honestly. You keep to yourself if you make chit-chat, you're annoying to most people. These run-on sentences, dude! I mean, okay, I can give them the benefit of the doubt and say English isn't their first language, but still, I don't know, it's still just, this grammar. I'm sorry. If you look at someone's kid, no apostrophe, someone's kid and smile, most parents think you're a pedophile. Like, honestly, I don't think that's a New York thing, because there's been, like, a rise of, like, pedophiles. Like, honestly, you should be careful. Like, that's an overreaction, I definitely agree, but, like, you should be careful with your kids. Like, what? What the frick? This is weird to me. In the more hostile area, you can say hi to someone and get beat up. I moved down south and was shocked on how nice people were. Like, my uncle was talking to a kid and the parents were fine. They were all chatting and having a laugh. You talk to someone, they don't give you a pained look like they're still talking. It's grammar. So yeah, NY is hostile, even not in NYC. There's some places like Ilion that people are friendly and will literally talk and stand 1 foot away from you, but even they can be skeptical and suspicious. Okay, I honestly love this next comment. It says none of your fucking business. Just gold. People saying they're unfriendly. Talking about homeless people being pushy. Okay, so, like, you know, homeless people, some homeless people are pushy because they're desperate, right? Like, honestly, like, no offense, but, like, people are pushy because they need food or they need money. Like, I would be pushy too. Like, sorry, it's just one of those issues of, like, giving, like, oh my god, it's just, like, that, like, again, stop blaming the homeless people. Okay. I don't find New Yorkers to be rude. I find that we move and talk faster than most people from many other places. Between traffic holdups and train delays, we're frequently rushing from one place to another. I and most people I know are the New Yorkers who will always approach people, standing on a street with a map, trying to determine where they are, which way's uptown, and I have taken more photos of total strangers than I could ever imagine. which way is uptown? It's the way that the streets go up. It's very simple. Actually, it's a grid. Like I said, I'm Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the most confusing place on the fucking planet. So yeah, it's like a grid. So people are saying this person's saying they think people in France and the UK are ruder. Okay, that's fair. It's a massive rush of people. So yeah, I actually am genuinely curious to see what I responded to this. I'm just looking. There's nothing wrong with a culture being different. So I've just seen like various. I'm looking for more like hate comments. I guess we're just in a hurry. Blah 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 blah. They can be, but most of the time they're just matter of fact. Brusque without being angry. Sometimes they smile. What is with this punctuation? The smile was in all caps. Oh my god. Oh my god. Just like. And they get on with life. And NY is busy, busy, busy. You got time to talk to a stranger. You'd be surprised at how good that conversation can turn out to be. Either they gotta go or you gotta run. But rude? As they say in NY, deal with it. You have another 9999999 other people to talk to, and the odds are in your favor. Like, I mean, I get what this person's trying to say, but it's just like, oh my god, the grammar. The fucking grammar. So I have no idea what, if you're one of WASP is. I have no idea what that means. And raised in the middle of a spoiled brat's dominating area, maybe you wouldn't feel rude at all. Jeez, this person is so petty. Oh, well, I pretty lived everywhere around world. Sorry. But I guarantee you I've heard the most cursing and hunking in last 3 months. Living in NYC, I'm not that kind of person. Like, I can yell F word to a total stranger, even somehow he or she spoiled my day a bit or worse, but being New Yorkers mean it is. You surely are immediately ready to pour bombarding a person even slightly offending you. This person has to, you know, not be okay. It says they're a foreign exchange student, so they're obviously not a native English speaker, which is fine. And there are rude people in every place, and polite people in every place. Most New Yorkers are not rude. They may be in a hurry to get somewhere and thus seem abrupt and non-responsive. Sometimes we get impatient if our progress is slowed or blocked by a crowded street. Sidewalks in New York are for walking, not gawking. But if there is time, most New Yorkers will be helpful and friendly. Yes, 100% agree. So honestly, these answers, so most of them are actually pretty civil. But there were a few that were, especially that McDonald's employee, geez. So I actually want to say what I said, because I definitely wrote something as a response to this. I'm just kind of seeing what I wrote. So this is what I said. Honestly, probably my grammar's not great either, because what I read on Quora, it's just a disaster. So before I make fun of anyone else's grammar, like my grammar, I know how to write grammar, but it's just like when I'm writing on my phone on Quora, it doesn't. So I said, there are some weird capitalizations here I'm already noticing. So I said this on October 8th. So I said, I was in Manhattan for 2 days with my aunt in August, and I fell in love with it. I felt at home right away, and I can see myself easily living/working in NYC or the surrounding area as long as I have access to NYC. Anyway, my aunt is really polite and sweet. She is amazing. But anyway, she was so nice to everyone. And for the most part, they were nice too. Honestly, run-on sentence, Raya. Past Raya needs to get a grip. But it says, so I said, I'm from a steel town near Pittsburgh originally, and I'm definitely not a southern or suburban gal. Pittsburghers have their own mannerisms that could seem rude to outsiders. Most cities are very busy and fast-paced, especially in NY. People are busy and don't often have time for small talk. Locals were very nice and pointed us where we needed to go. They loved my enthusiasm. The shoe guy at Macy's was an NYC native and was super nice. Honestly, what is with this run-on sentence? But sure, this is still my experience. I didn't really find but anyone being rude to us, even the homeless guy on the subway was really nice about asking for money, and I felt bad because no one cared. Honestly, he was like super nice, but also like people would classify that as pushy. Like that other person would have classified that as pushy, and it's like, it's like asking for money is pushy. If you're literally homeless and you're desperate. Even though, so I said the homeless guy, and I felt bad because no one cared. The only time anything weird happened was once we got scammed by a monk in Central Park, and another time I'm excited. I think that was a typo. I overheard two people arguing on the street, but it wasn't directed at us. So like, I guess there's shady business like everywhere else, and some people are rude to each other. I wouldn't consider it rude most of the time. As a northern girl, just blunt. Also, NY drivers are extremely rude. We have this thing in Pittsburgh where if you know someone, you honk all friendly like, but in the honks in NY were rude and hostile, but catch me dead before I'm driving in NYC or New Jersey. I'll take public transit, thank you very much. That was my comment. So honestly, I have a point, but I also need to fix my own grammar, so there's that. It was just that I'm really bad at reading on Quora. So anyway, guys, that's gonna be about it. This was a really long two-parter video because my camera cut off. So yeah, I hope you don't mind the ramblings. This is just my general opinion. So if you all want to leave comments down below, go right ahead. And this is what I think. So anyway, yeah, I'll see you all next time. Bye.